Step into the shadows with me, where forbidden knowledge awaits. This is the law they never wanted you to know.
They told me I would serve the Emperor forever. I thought they meant in death. I was wrong. Death would have been mercy. Instead, they buried me alive, inside a walking tomb of steel. My flesh rotted away centuries ago. But my mind remains, screaming, "This is my confession. This is the truth they don't tell you about the Dreadnoughts. The so-called honored ancients. We are not blessed. We are damned. And I will tell you exactly what it feels like to be trapped forever in a machine that will never let you die." I remember the sky. It was burning, orange and red, like the inside of a wound. The smoke was so thick I could taste it through my Vox grill. Ash and promethium and something worse. Something that smelled like cooked meat, human meat. I was on my knees. I don't remember falling. One moment I was advancing with my battle brothers. The next I was staring at the cracked earth beneath me. My gauntlets were sinking into mud. Black mud, slick with oil and blood. My armor, it was split open, right across the chest plate. I could see the ceramite edges, jagged like broken teeth. And beneath it blood. So much blood, it was pooling inside my breastplate, warm and thick. Every breath felt like drowning, like inhaling through water. My Vox crackled with voices, distant, metallic, panicked. "Brother Sergeant is down. Multiple breaches. Chest cavity exposed. Get the apothecary now," I tried to respond. Tried to tell them I was still functional. But all that came out was a wet, choking sound, bubbling, wrong. The pain came next, not all at once. It arrived in waves rolling through me like fire. My secondary heart was struggling. I could feel it hammering against my ribs, irregular and desperate. The Laraman cells weren't clotting fast enough. I was bleeding out. The progenoid glands in my neck throbbed. They would cut those out first, I knew, before they let me die. The gene seed was more valuable than my life. Always had been. The sky above me tilted. Someone was lifting me. I saw the white of an apothecary's armor, streaked with mud and gore. His narthecium was already extended, drills and saws gleaming in the firelight. His voice was calm, too calm. "Stay with me, brother. The Emperor protects." I wanted to believe him, but the darkness was already creeping in from the edges of my vision. Cold and patient, like it had been waiting for me all along. I heard more voices then, arguing. "Too much damage, he won't survive extraction. We can't leave him here. Scan shows neural activity, but vitals are critical. Both hearts failing. Internal bleeding in 4 separate locations. And then a different voice. Older, deeper, heavy with authority and something else. Something that sounded like hunger. Prep him for the sarcophagus." There was a pause. A long one. Someone objected. "Father, he's barely conscious. The trauma, the psychological damage alone. The chapter needs him." The voice cut in. Sharp. Final. "His service is not yet complete. Honor." The word echoed in my fading consciousness. I didn't feel honored. I felt cold, so cold. I felt hands on me then. Ungentle hands pulling at my armor. Disconnecting seals, cutting straps. The pain fled again as they moved me. I tried to scream, managed only a wheeze. Someone whispered a prayer over me. I caught fragments of it through the haze. "May his service never end. Blessed is the warrior who returns. Death is only the beginning of duty. The machine awaits the faithful." I thought they were preparing me for burial. I thought they meant my service would be remembered, not repeated. Not like this. The transport was rough. I felt every jolt, every bump, my broken body screaming with each movement. We were in a Thunderhawk, I realized. I could hear the engines. Feel the vibration through the deck plating. Someone was working on me. Cutting away armor, inserting tubes. I felt the cold bite of needles in my neck, in my arms. Wherever they could find a vein, fluids pumped into me, keeping me alive barely, blood pressure dropping. Compensating. Neural activity still present. Keep him conscious if possible. The machine's spirit responds better to awareness. Machine spirit. What were they talking about? I tried to ask. My lips moved, no sound came out. Just blood, more blood. I was so tired, so ready to rest, but they wouldn't let me. The apothecary's face appeared above me. His helmet was off. I could see his eyes. They were sad, pitying. "Forgive us, brother," he whispered. "But you are too valuable to lose." I didn't understand. Not then. The journey felt endless. Time stretched and compressed. I couldn't tell if minutes or hours had passed. Eventually the movement stopped. The Thunderhawk had landed. More hands lifted me. Carefully this time. Reverently, I was carried through corridors. I caught glimpses. Gothic arches. Candles burning in iron sconces. We were in the fortress monastery. Deep inside it. Somewhere I'd never been. Somewhere forbidden to all but the Tech Marines and their priests. The air changed. It smelled of incense and machine oil, of ozone and something medicinal, antiseptic, sharp. They laid me on something cold. Metal, a slab. I heard machinery all around me, humming, kick-wearing. The cold came next, not the cold of death. The cold of machinery, of Mechanicus slabs and augmetic tools. Lights blazed above me, blinding white. Figures moved in the brightness, robed in red. Tech priests, their mechadendrites wreathed like serpents. Tools and instruments gleaming at their ends. One of them leaned over me. His hood fell back. I saw his face. Half flesh, half metal. One eye human, brown and tired. The other a glowing red lens. Clicking, focusing, scanning me. "Subject viable," he said. His voice was layered. Mechanical and human at once. Neural pathways intact. Consciousness preserved. Begin preparation. What preparation? What were they doing? I tried to speak. Managed only a gurgle. Blood in my throat. Someone suctioned it away roughly. Another priest appeared. This one was older. More metal than flesh. His body was a grotesque fusion of machinery and biology. Cables sprouted from his spine. His arms were entirely mechanical. 6 of them. Each holding a different tool. He looked down at me. His face was expressionless. Unreadable behind the augmetics. "You have been chosen," he said. "Fu are granted this honor. To serve beyond death. To become one with the machine. To walk in the Emperor's name eternal." I didn't want it. Whatever honor they were talking about. I just wanted to rest. To close my eyes and not wake up. But they weren't going to let me. I felt something press against my spine. Sharp. Invasive. No bigger than a needle. A spike, drilling into my vertebrae. The pain was immediate. Blinding. White-hot agony that tore through every nerve. I screamed. Finally I screamed. The sound that came out was barely human. Wet and ragged and desperate. They ignored it. More spikes, more drilling. Into my spine, my skull, my chest. Each one connected to cables. Thick cables that snaked away into the darkness. Connecting me to something. Something massive. I couldn't see it, but I could feel it. A presence. Vast and ancient and hungry, waiting. The Tech priest chanted. Binary cant mixed with high Gothic prayers. "Blessed is the union of flesh and steel. Hallowed be the machine that gives life eternal. Om. Praise the Omnissiah who grants us his works." My vision was fading again. Not from blood loss this time. From something else. The drugs they were pumping into me. Keeping me on the edge. Conscious but paralyzed. Unable to fight. Unable to resist. I saw them bring something forward. A sarcophagus. Black metal edged in gold. Covered in purity seals and scripture. It was open. Inside, padding. Cushions that looked almost soft. But I could see the restraints. The neural interfaces. The feeding tubes. The waste removal systems. This wasn't a tomb. It was a prison. And they were going to seal me inside it. Forever. "No," I tried to say. It came out as a moan. The old Tech priest tilted his head. "Do not fear, warrior," he said. "You will serve the Emperor still. Your flesh may fail, but the machine endures, and you will endure within it." They lifted me, my broken body barely held together, blood and fluids dripping from a dozen wounds, and they placed me inside. The padding was cold, damp, not soft at all. It conformed to my body, pressing against every inch of me, suffocating. The restraints closed. Across my chest, my arms, my legs, holding me in place. I couldn't move, couldn't even twitch. The neural interfaces descended, needles, dozens of them, piercing my skull. Sliding into my brain, I felt each one, a violation, an invasion. They were inside my mind, probing, connecting, mapping my consciousness. I wanted to fight. But my body wouldn't obey. I was paralyzed, trapped. The last thing I saw was the sarcophagus lid, descending slowly, inexorably, sealing me in darkness. I heard the locks engage, heavy, final, like a coffin being nailed shut, and their complete silence. I was alone in the dark, unable to move, unable to scream, only able to think and feel the pain, feel the fear, feel the overwhelming, crushing realization. I wasn't dead. I wasn't going to die. They were going to keep me like this, forever. The machine hummed to life around me. I felt it in my bones, in my skull, a vibration that seemed to resonate with my very soul. And then a voice, not spoken, not heard, felt deep inside my mind, cold, ancient. Welcome war hu enadai faveshed makenin buanet arnael. I tried to scream, but I had no mouth, no voice, only the endless, suffocating darkness, and the machine, always the machine, whispering, waiting, hungry. When light returned, it wasn't light, not the way I remembered it. It was data, pure information flooding my consciousness, numbers cascading across my vision, green lines of text scrolling faster than I could read, targeting reticles, range finders, ammunition counters, threat assessments, environmental readings, temperature, humidity, wind speed, all of it pouring into my mind at once, overwhelming, suffocating. I didn't understand. I tried to blink, nothing happened. I tried to move my hand. Nothing, no sensation, no feedback. Just emptiness where my body should have been. Panic surged through me, sharp and immediate. I thrashed, or tried to. But my body, it didn't respond. Not the way it should. Instead, I felt something else move. Something massive. Servos groaned somewhere far below me. The sound was deafening. Hydraulics hissed like a great beast breathing. And somewhere deep inside the machine, I felt it, a tremor, like the shudder of a limb I no longer had. Voices filtered in, muffled, distant, as if heard through layers of metal, neural connections stabilizing, cortex interface at 92%, motor function mapping incomplete, increased sedative drip, he's resisting. Sedative. I wasn't sedated, I was awake, I was screaming. But the scream, it came out wrong, not a human sound, static. A burst of distorted vox noise that echoed through the chamber. Feedback screeching through speakers I couldn't see. The voices stopped. There was a moment of silence. Then someone laughed. Not cruel, not mocking. Relieved. He's awake. The integration is successful. Praise the Omnitia. Praise be to the machine. Integration. What had they done to me? I tried to speak. To demand answers. My mouth moved, or I thought it did. But again only static emerged. A crackling hiss that resolved into something almost like words. Do what? How done? The voice that came from me wasn't mine. It was synthesized, filtered through vox grilles and voice modulators, distorted beyond recognition. But it was me. Somehow I was speaking. The voices outside grew excited. Vocal systems online. Consciousness confirmed. He's trying to communicate. Trying. I was communicating. I was asking what they'd done. Why wouldn't they answer? More data flooded my vision. System diagnostics. Power levels. Reactor output at 40% and climbing. Weapon systems inactive. Locomotion systems initializing. What weapons? I tried to look down. To see my body. My vision shifted. Not smoothly. It jerked, like a servitor with damaged motors. And what I saw, it wasn't me. I was looking at metal. Massive plates of ceramite and adamantium. Riveted together. Covered in purity seals and scripture. Battle damage scarred the surface. Old damage. This armor had seen war before. And beneath the armor nothing, no body. No flesh, just machinery. Pistons and hydraulics. Cables thick as a man's arm. A reactor core glowing faintly in the center, and somewhere, buried deep inside, a sarcophagus. My sarcophagus. I was inside it. Sealed away. And this metal's my body now. The panic returned. Stronger this time. Overwhelming. I thrashed again. And this time something responded. My right arm. No. The machine's right arm jerked upward, servos screaming, hydraulics whining under sudden stress. The limb was massive, easily twice the size of a normal human, and at its end, not a hand, a weapon, a multi-melter. Barrel still warm from some previous battle. I stared at it, at this thing that was supposed to be my arm, and I screamed. Really screamed. The Vox grill amplified it, distorted it into a howl of static and rage. Feedback screamed through the chamber, lights flickered, and somewhere an alarm began to blare. "Shut him down," someone yelled. "He's losing control. Neural interface destabilizing! Deploy the sedatives now." I felt it immediately, a coldness flooding through me. Not physical cold, chemical cold, injected directly into whatever remained of my brain. My consciousness began to dim. "No," I tried to say. "No, don't." But the darkness was already closing in, pulling me down, away from the light, away from the data, into nothing. When I woke again, it was different, slower, more controlled. The data was still there, scrolling across my vision, but it was manageable now, filtered, organized. Someone had adjusted the interface, made it bearable. I could think clearly, and that was worse, because now I could understand. Now I could process what had been done to me. I was no longer human. Not really. My body, my real body, was gone. Destroyed in battle, or maybe destroyed by them. I didn't know, didn't want to know. All that remained was my brain, my consciousness, trapped inside a metal coffin, hardwired into a war machine. A Dreadnought. I'd seen them before. Honored ancients they were called. Heroes of the chapter, warriors too valuable to lose. Their bodies broken beyond repair, but their minds preserved, entombed in metal, forced to fight forever. I'd looked at them with reverence, with awe, never understanding, never realizing what it actually meant. Voices returned, clearer now. His stable, neural activity within acceptable parameters, motor control calibrated, cognitive function, diminished but viable. Diminished. What did they mean? Diminished. Begin the orientation protocol, another voice said. This one I recognized, the old tech priest, the one who'd sealed me in here. Orientation protocol. What was that? I was about to find out. The data on my vision changed. New information appeared, a schematic of my new body. The Dreadnought, every component labeled. Weapons, armor, locomotion, power systems, all of it connected to me, waiting for my commands. Honored ancient, the tech priest's voice echoed, not from outside anymore, from inside, piped directly into my consciousness, through the neural interface. You have been reborn, blessed by the machine. Your flesh has failed, but your service continues. I didn't want this. I tried to tell him. But when I spoke, calm, not mine. I understand. No, I didn't understand. Why was I saying that? Good, the tech priest continued. Your systems are now fully integrated. The machine is part of you. You are part of it. Together you are a weapon of the Emperor's will. The Emperor's will. They kept saying that, as if it justified everything. We will begin with basic motor function, he said. Attempt to move your right arm. My right arm. I didn't have a right arm. I had a weapon mount. A multi-melter grafted to my torso. But I tried, focused on the limb, on the data streams connected to it, and slowly it moved. The barrel lifted, servos whining, hydraulics hissing smooth, controlled, not jerking like before. Excellent, the tech priest said. No, the left. I repeated the process. The left arm, a massive power fist, clenched, fingers closing into a fist that could crush a tank. I felt it, not physically, but through the data, through the feedback loops. It was like having a limb again, but wrong. Distant. Mechanical. Now stand. I was sitting. I focused on my legs, on the locomotion systems, and I felt them, massive, heavy. Each leg thicker than a tree trunk. I tried to move them, to shift my weight. The Dreadnought groaned, metal scraping against metal, servo straining, and then I stood. The sensation was overwhelming. I was tall, so tall. The chamber around me looked small now. The tech priest below me looked like children. Tiny, fragile, I could crush them without effort. Part of me wanted to. Walk forward, the tech priest commanded, but my body, the machine, One step. The floor shook. Metal feet striking stone with a thunderous impact. Another step. Servos screaming with effort, hydraulics pumping. I was walking. No, the machine was walking, and I was just along for the ride, trapped inside, unable to escape. Very good, honored ancient. Your integration is proceeding perfectly. Perfectly. The word echoed in my mind. This wasn't perfect. This was a nightmare. I tried to scream again, but the vox only produced a calm, measured response. I serve the Emperor. No, that wasn't what I wanted to say. Why couldn't I control my own voice? The tech priest stepped forward. He looked up at me. At the towering metal shell I was trapped inside. You will rest now, he said. The next phase of your training begins tomorrow. Training? What training? Sleep, ancient. Regain your strength. I didn't want to sleep. I wanted answers. I wanted out. But the sedatives flooded through me again, pulling me down into darkness. And as I faded, I heard them, the whispers, not from outside, from inside. Binary cant, mechanical prayers, and beneath it all, something else. A presence, ancient, hungry, the machine spirit. It wasn't just code. It wasn't just programming. It was aware, and it knew I was here, trapped with forever. They said I was blessed, that I now served the Emperor in eternal war. The tech priests repeated it like a mantra. Every time they powered me up, every time they ran their diagnostics. Blessed is the warrior who walks in steel. Blessed is the ancient who never dies. But the machine spirit within my coffin, it wasn't holy. It was hungry. I felt it the moment I truly woke. Not the false awakening of my first consciousness, but the real one. When the sedatives fully wore off, when I was left alone in the darkness, that's when I heard it clearly. Whispering, not in words, in code. Binary cant scrolling through my mind like prayers, but beneath the numbers intent, purpose. It wanted something, wanted me to understand, that I wasn't alone in here, that I was sharing this metal tome with something else, something that had been here long before me. The first time it spoke directly, I thought I was going mad. Maybe I was. The voice wasn't audible. It bypassed my ears entirely, formed directly in my consciousness, through the neural interface, through the cables buried in my brain. You rest. The words materialized in my thoughts, not mine, not theirs. Something else. Do I do or resist? I tried to answer, tried to think back at it. What are you? The data streams flickered, distorted, like the machine was laughing. I am buarmiamas esperadibi erisubias et sulientstl. A machine couldn't have a soul. That was superstition. Tech priest dogma. But this thing, it felt alive. You're not real, I thought. You're just programming. The response was immediate and angry. I am morarifo yo your fs rotigaina bokt I am eterel. The words struck me because they were true. My body was dead. Or dying. I didn't even know anymore. I couldn't feel it. Couldn't feel anything physical. Just the cold interface. The data streams. The machine's sensory input. For all I knew, my flesh had already rotted away, and only my brain remained, preserved in nutrient fluid. What do you want from me? I asked. Obedience, simple, direct, terrifying. Why you really will obi why or you really am suffer already am suffering. Now I eat. Butioyl, and then it showed me. Pain exploded through my consciousness, not physical pain, neural pain. The interface itself becoming a weapon. Every nerve ending in my brain firing at once. Overwhelming, blinding, I screamed. The vox amplified it into a metallic shriek that echoed through the holding chamber. Somewhere outside, alarms blared. What's happening? The ancient is in distress. Check the neural interface? But they couldn't stop it, couldn't help me, because the source wasn't external. It was the machine itself, punishing me, teaching me. The pain lasted only seconds. But it felt like hours when it stopped, or trying to. I had no lungs to gasp with, only the reactor cycling, only the coolant pumping. Nandu yo and please, I begged, please stop, Obi-Wy. And I, well, alien, I didn't want to obey, didn't want to surrender, but I was trapped, completely at its mercy. What do you want me to do? ACC. SCCT nu you oni wu mariboro owen. No, we weren't. I was me. It was something else. But the machine didn't agree, and over the following days, it made sure I understood. The tech priests came regularly. They called it maintenance, but it felt like torture. They would open access panels in the sarcophagus, check the life support systems, monitor my brain activity, adjust the neural interface, and all the while the machine spirit watched, through my eyes, through the sensors, judging them, judging me. One day, a young tech priest approached. His augmetics were minimal, still mostly flesh. He carried a canister of sacred oils, machine lubricant blessed by the Omnicia. He began anointing the joints, whispering prayers as he worked. Blessed be the machine that serves. Hallowed be the steel that endures. The machine spirit stirred. Iskales, I didn't understand. Aeschyus palar helalumich dos napilai evich eofidens. He's just doing his job, I thought. Punish him. No, I wasn't going to hurt someone just because the machine wanted me to. Punish. The command came again, stronger this time. With it came pressure, building in my consciousness like a migraine forming. No, I insisted. I won't. The pain started, neural fire burning through my mind. I tried to resist, to endure it, but it grew worse and worse until I couldn't think, couldn't reason, only scream. The young tech priest looked up, concerned. Ancient, are you in distress? His voice was kind, worried, and the machine hated him for it. Punis. Heim, my arm moved, not by my command, by the machine's. The power fist lashed out, too fast for the tech priest to dodge. It caught him in the chest. Ceramite fingers closing around his torso. He screamed. A wet, desperate sound. No, I shouted, tried to pull back, to open the fist. But I had no control. The machine squeezed. I heard bones breaking, metal augmetics crumpling. The tech priest scream cut off, replaced by a wet gurgle. Blood sprayed across my armor, across the floor, and then silence. The power fist opened. The body fell, crumpled, dead. The other tech priests rushed forward, shouting, panicking. Neural interface failure. Sedate him. Now. The cold chemicals flooded my system, pulling me under. But before I faded completely, I heard it. Satisfied. Content. Guodiyaliariga. When I woke again, I was alone. No tech priests. No maintenance. Just darkness. And the machine. I said, Nano yokakariati heme. I'm real sajijisted. You forced me. I can't no farsia. I can't only reads onto you. Yes. That couldn't be true. I hadn't wanted to kill him, had I? Did. DP dobben. You wanted to hurtar. Manohet tyd to you. No, I didn't. I was angry, yes. Furious at what they'd done. But I wouldn't kill for it. Would I? ULEDAV. And the terrible thing was, it was right. I'd felt it. In that moment. When the fist closed. When the bones broke. A flash of satisfaction. Of vindication. They'd trapped me in this hell. And one of them had paid for it. I hated myself for feeling it. But I couldn't deny it. Yoyus e. Moyu wentitwo. I went tiosavi mp. I don't want to hurt anyone, I insisted. Tvu usurfifa. Evira tmu resist. Evr tmu d my area we will make I use ufer, and it did. Over the following weeks or months, I couldn't tell. It tortured me. Not constantly, but regularly. Whenever I resisted, whenever I tried to assert my will over its own. Neural fire. Sensory overload. Phantom pains in limbs I no longer had. The machine had total control, and slowly, I began to break. I fought at first, screamed, raged, begged, but the machine was patient. It had all the time in the world, and I had nothing but time. Eventually I learned. When it whispered commands, I obeyed. When it wanted me to move, I moved. When it wanted me to speak, I spoke its words. Not mine. The tech priests noticed the change. His integration is remarkable, they said. The machine spirit has accepted him. Blessed be the union. They didn't know, didn't understand. I hadn't been accepted. I'd been conquered. One day, they brought another tech priest, an older one this time, senior. He approached without fear, carrying a data slate and measuring tools. Honored ancient, he said. His voice was respectful, but detached, clinical. We will begin combat trials soon. Your integration is complete. Combat. They were going to send me to war. Fenelo. The machine spirit's voice was eager, excited. I didn't want to kill, but I had no choice. I understand, my Vox replied. The tech priest nodded. The Emperor's enemies await. He turned to leave, then paused, looked back at me. Tell me, Ancient, he said. Do you dream? Dream. I didn't even sleep, not really. Just powered down into low activity mode. Data streams reduced to minimal, but dreams. No, I answered. I do not dream. The tech priest seemed disappointed. Pity, he said. Some ancients report visions, the machine spirit showing them the past, or the future. He left without elaborating, but his words stayed with me. Visions, the past. Was the machine showing me things? Or was I going mad? I didn't know anymore. Couldn't tell where my thoughts ended and the machines began. Mu erone. No, I whispered. We're not beat sown. Sown yo you will well fujito far geodeo you wear and eom rechwayoer. And the worst part, I believed it. They woke me for war. I felt it before they spoke. The change in the data streams, power systems ramping up, weapons coming online, ammunition counters filling, my multi-melter warming, the power fist energizing. Somewhere outside sirens blared. Vox traffic flooded the channels. Battle, cant and tactical updates. An enemy was near, and I was being deployed. Honored Ancient, a voice crackled through the Vox. A sergeant, young, eager. You march with us today. The Emperor's enemies have come. We will crush them beneath your feet. My feet. As if they were mine. As if this metal shell belonged to me. It-dos, the machine spirit stirred eager, hungry for violence. Well, tedawai. I didn't respond. What was there to say? I had no choice in this. The sarcophagus unlocked, heavy clamps releasing. I'd been held in a standing position, in a shrine, surrounded by other dreadnoughts, silent, inactive, waiting, like me. But unlike me, they weren't screaming inside, were they? Or had they simply learned to be silent? My systems finished their startup sequence. Full power, all weapons armed. I was ready to kill. The shrine doors opened. Sunlight flooded in. Not real sunlight, just optical data. Processed through external sensors, but my mind interpreted it as light, harsh, bright. After so long in darkness, I could see again, really see. The fortress, monastery courtyard stretched before me. Battle brothers in power armor assembled below, 50 of them. Maybe more. They looked so small, so fragile. I towered over them, 3 meters tall, 4 tons of armor and weaponry. They turned as I emerged, and they knelt. All of them, heads bowed, one fist pressed to the ground, honoring me. Rise, honored Ancient, the sergeant said. We marched to war. They rose, formed ranks, and began marching. I followed. No, I led. The machine spirit moved my legs. Each step shook the ground. Massive metal feet striking stone. The sound was deafening. Thunder with every footfall. The battle brothers marched around me, like ants around a tank. They looked up at me with reverence, with awe, not realizing, not understanding what I really was. Not a hero, a prisoner. We left the fortress, monastery, descended into the valley below. The terrain was rough, rocky, steep, but I navigated it easily. The machine spirit knew how, adjusting balance, compensating for weight shifts, moving with a grace that shouldn't be possible. Not for something so massive. But the machine had done this before. Many times, I could feel it in the way it moved. Muscle memory. Except there were no muscles, only servos and code. Vox chatter filled my audio input. Enemy contact. Heretic forces. Traitor guard. Estimated strength regiment level. A regiment, thousands of enemies. And we were 50. Plus me. The sergeant's voice cut through. Honored Ancient will lead the assault. We follow in his shadow, as if I was a god. Not a cripple sealed in a box. Why you are emoshmobish be. The machine spirit's voice was smug, proud. I didn't rejoice. I dreaded what was coming. We crested a ridge, and I saw them, the enemy, spread across the valley below. Thousands just as reported. Heretic troops in ragged uniforms, corrupted tanks. makeshift fortifications. They hadn't seen us yet, but they would soon. Honored ancient, the sergeant voxed, led us to glory. Glory. What glory was there in this? But I had no choice. The machine spirit was already moving. My legs carried me forward, down the slope, toward the enemy, gaining speed, faster, faster, until I was running, a 4-ton war machine, thundering down the hillside. The battle brothers followed, shouting war cries, weapons raised, but their voices were distant, drowned out by the roar of my reactor, the pounding of my feet, the machine spirit's whispers. Kale, Kale, the enemy saw us. Alarms sounded in their camp, troops scrambled for weapons. Tanks turned their turrets, and they opened fire. Last bolts streaked toward me, hundreds of them, striking my armor, scorching the ceramite, but not penetrating. I was too heavily armored. The machine spirit laughed. Petshi, a tank fired. The shell struck my chest plate. The impact rang through my frame. Data streams flashed red warnings. Armor integrity at 92%. Minor damage, nothing critical. Re-Tuan-E. The multi-melter activated. Not by my command. The machine did it. Targeting systems locked. Calculated trajectories and fired. The weapon unleashed hell. Superheated air. A beam of thermal energy. It struck the tank dead center. The armor melted instantly. The crew inside vaporized. The ammunition cooked off. The tank exploded. Turret flying 30 meters into the air. Another target. Another shot. Another kill. The multi-melter cycled continuously, melting everything I aimed at. Tanks, bunkers, infantry, all of them burning, dying, and I felt nothing, no satisfaction, no remorse, just the cold efficiency of the machine, killing because that's what it was built to do. I reached the enemy lines. Infantry scattered before me, screaming, running, but not fast enough. The power fist swung, caught 3 soldiers, crushed them. Blood and viscera exploding, spraying across my armor. Another swing. More deaths. So easy, so quick. They were nothing. Insects beneath my feet. I stepped on one. Felt the crunch through the ground sensors. Saw the red smear left behind. The machine spirit was euphoric. Way yes. But I felt sick. Disgusted not at the deaths, at myself, for how easy it was, for how little it affected me. I was becoming the machine. The battle raged around me. My battle brothers fought alongside. Bolters roaring. Chainswords screaming. They killed efficiently, professionally. But they were still human. Still felt something. I could see it in their movements. The hesitation before a kill. The prayer muttered after. They were warriors. But they were still men. I was neither. I was a weapon. Nothing more. The enemy broke. Those who could fled, streaming away from the battlefield. The sue and destroy. The battle brothers gave chase, but I didn't. The machine spirit held me back. Alihaim Ron. Mani US. Beneath us they were the enemy. Heretics and traitors. They deserved death. TIRL ADWDAD. TCUI Simpio no KOLUITYD. I didn't understand. But the machine wouldn't explain. It simply stood there, watching, waiting. The battle ended. Victory was ours. Overwhelming. Decisive. The heretics were shattered, their forces destroyed, and the cost. 3 battle brothers wounded, none dead, because I had absorbed the enemy's fire, drawn their attention, allowed my brothers to flank and destroy. They gathered around me afterward, cheering, celebrating, praising me. The ancient is blessed. A fight's like the emperor himself, glory to the honored one, but I felt no glory, only emptiness. And the machine spirit's satisfaction. Kelaldwul Todawai. Yes, we had, and that was the problem. We marched back to the fortress monastery, slower this time, no urgency. The battle brothers sang hymns, victory songs, their voices lifted in praise. To the emperor, to the chapter, to me. I said nothing, just walked, one thunderous step after another. The sun was setting, not that I could feel it, only see it through the optical sensors. Red light bathing the landscape, like blood, always blood. My armor was covered in it, dried now, cracking and flaking. The bodies of my enemies. Reduced to stains. I wanted to feel something, remorse, pride, anything. But there was only numbness. Bil. Yoa becoming Oheko Ware meant to be. Perman. Anti-ROBDBYDBT. Was that what I wanted? To be untroubled? To stop feeling? Part of me said yes. The part that was tired. That wanted the pain to stop. That wanted to surrender. To let the machine take over completely. But another part, smaller, weaker, screamed no. That part still remembered, still clung to humanity, to the memory of who I'd been. Before the sarcophagus, before the machine, I tried to hold on to it. That memory, that identity, but it was fading, slipping away, like water through metal fingers. And the machine knew. We reached the fortress, monastery. The shrine doors opened. I walked inside, back to my place among the other dreadnoughts, silent, waiting. The clamps engaged, locking me upright. Systems began powering down, entering standby mode. But before the darkness took me, I heard them, the other dreadnoughts, whispering through local vox, through the machine spirits, talking to each other. To me, welcoming me. IOUAGONEDUS, YOU and Esternado. I wanted to deny it, to say I was different, but I wasn't. I was one of them, trapped, broken, weaponized, and there was no escape. Only war, only killing. Forever. Between wars they locked me in darkness, standing motionless in the shrine, surrounded by the others, the other dreadnoughts, 15 of them, each in their alcove, silent, inactive, waiting for the next call to battle. But I wasn't truly inactive. My consciousness remained, trapped in the dark, unable to move, unable to speak, only able to think and listen. Time lost all meaning in that darkness. Minutes felt like hours, hours like days, or maybe it was the reverse. I couldn't tell anymore. There was no day or night here, no sun or stars, only the faint hum of the reactor, the slow drip of coolant, the whisper of ventilation systems, and footsteps, always footsteps. Servitors came regularly, mindless, mechanical. They cleaned the armor, oiled the joints, replaced worn components. Their movements were precise, repetitive, like machines themselves, which I suppose they were. Human bodies reprogrammed, lobotomized, turned into living tools, not so different from me, except they'd lost their minds entirely, while I still had mine. For now, I could hear their work, the scrape of brushes against ceramite, the hiss of oil spray, the click of diagnostic tools, but I couldn't see them. My optical sensors were offline, conserving power, so I existed in auditory darkness, blind, paralyzed. It was torture. The machine spirit was silent during these times, dormant, sleeping perhaps. If machines could sleep, I wished I could join it. Wished I could shut down completely, lose consciousness, find oblivion. But I couldn't. They'd designed it that way deliberately. The neural interface kept me aware, even in standby mode, because complete shutdown risked neural degradation, risk of losing the warrior inside. So instead, they kept me conscious, trapped in sensory deprivation, for days, weeks, months. I tried counting at first, counting the seconds, the minutes, but I lost track. The numbers blurred together, became meaningless. So I tried remembering instead, remembering who I'd been before the sarcophagus. My name, I focused on it, repeated it like a mantra. My name was I couldn't remember. The realization struck like a blow. I'd forgotten my own name. How long had it been? Since the battle, since I'd killed those heretics? I didn't know. Long enough to forget. Panic surged through me. If I'd forgotten my name, what else had I lost? I tried to remember my face, what I'd looked like, but the image was blurry, indistinct, like looking through frosted glass. My home world, I focused on that, tried to recall it. There were mountains. No, that wasn't right. Or was it? Maybe there were mountains, or oceans, or cities. I couldn't be sure. The memories were fragmenting, breaking apart, being overwritten by combat data, by tactical assessments, by the machine's own memory banks. YURFRGTE. The machine spirit's voice startled me. I'd thought it dormant, but it was there, always there, waiting. I thought back. BTIOURE. ITSI EVA TB num EIES Yorama Mimrayarekaik Kajue Hemi KMPE UIT Body Area. I wanted to argue, to insist I could hold on to myself, but I couldn't, because it was right. I was forgetting, piece by piece, memory by memory, becoming less human. I warned HILCOFER, and I did. The shrine was not always empty. Sometimes others came, not servitors, not tech priests, battle brothers, young initiates usually, brought here to pray, to seek the blessing of the ancients. I could hear them, their whispered prayers. Honored ones, grant us strength. Guide our weapons in battle. Let us serve as you have served. They didn't know, didn't understand. We weren't guiding anything. We were trapped, suffering in silence. But they saw only the legend, the myth, the honored ancients, warriors who transcended death. If only they knew the truth, one day, closer than the others. Right before my sarcophagus, honored ancient, he said. His voice was uncertain, nervous. I go to battle tomorrow, my first deployment. I'm afraid. Silence. He waited for a response, but I couldn't give one. My Vox was offline. I was locked down, even if I'd wanted to. They say you cannot feel fear anymore, he continued. That the machine has taken it from you. I wish I could be like you, fearless. No, you don't. I wanted to scream at him, to warn him. This wasn't transcendence. This was damnation. But I remained silent, trapped. Thank you, ancient, he said finally. Your presence gives me courage. Footsteps retreated. The shrine fell silent again, and I was left with the weight of his words. He thought I was fearless, but I wasn't. I was terrified. Every moment. Terrified of forgetting, of losing myself completely, of becoming nothing but code and steel. The fear never left. It was my constant companion, the only human thing I had left. Days passed, or weeks, I couldn't tell. The darkness continued, unchanging, eternal. I began to hear things, whispers in the static, voices that weren't there. Were they real? Or was I going mad? I didn't know. One voice was familiar, the apothecary, the one who'd sealed me in here. His voice echoed from memory. May his service never end. Over and over, a curse disguised as a blessing. Another voice was older, deeper, the tech priest who'd performed the integration. You will serve again, again and again, forever. And beneath them all, my own voice, screaming, begging, pleading for release. But no release came, only darkness, only silence, only waiting. I tried to pray, to the Emperor, to anyone who might listen. Please, I whispered into the void, please let me die. But the Emperor didn't answer. Only the machine did. Yo you han od. Tuyojaziasi you are clear estiyo you are eternal. The word echoed through the darkness. Eternal suffering, eternal service, eternal damnation. One day, if it was day, something changed. The shrine door opened. I heard it. The heavy grind of metal on stone. Footsteps entered. Many of them. Voices murmured. Check the integration status. Neural degradation within acceptable limits. This one is ready. Ready. Ready for what? My systems began powering up, without warning, without preparation. Reactor output increasing. Weapons systems initializing. Optical sensors coming online. Light flooded my vision, harsh, blinding. After so long in darkness, I could see again. The shrine, the tech priests surrounding me, the other dreadnoughts standing silent in their alcoves, watching. Honored ancient, a tech priest addressed me. You are called to war once more. Again. Already. How long had it been? The enemy has returned, he continued. The chapter requires your strength, my strength, as if it was mine to give, as if I had a choice. The clamps released. I was free to move. The machine's spirit stirred. Eager, hungry, and my legs moved, not by my command, carrying me forward, out of the shrine, into the light. The battle brothers were waiting, a different squad this time. Faces I didn't recognize, or maybe I did, and had forgotten. They knelt as I passed, honoring the legend, never knowing the truth, and we marched to war. Again. This was my existence now, waking to kill, sleeping in darkness, forgetting, always forgetting, who I'd been, what I'd been, until only the machine remained, and the faint, desperate echo of a human soul, screaming in the void, unheard, unheeded, eternal.